Okay, so what we were saying was it definitely creating a online advertising strategy for your company. You have to also understand as a small business owner that it may require you to make additional investments into your company. For instance, for AEMC, I totally understand what you were saying about the consistency,
Yeah.
but it really takes a lot of time. So as a small business owner, you already understand, because we consult with a large number of small business owners on a regular basis, and I already know the statement that you're going to make is that I'm already wearing 10,000 hats. I'm already having a lot of things that I have to do. So this understand that really to be consistent and utilizing the social media platforms and rolling out a strategy that you may have for each platform will possibly require you to hire someone specifically for social media and staying abreast on that, because it can be very time consuming. Initially, it can be daunting. It can really be intimidating
Yeah.
to some individuals because it's so many different platforms out here. So you have to learn how each one works and things, and that's why it makes sense to just consult a professional. So, TS, does your company, for those business owners who really struggle with
Yeah.
content and creating strategy, we don't per se perform specific marketing strategies, but we definitely, as a consulting company, have resources that we can refer our
Exactly.
clients to.
And we can do it on a monthly fee, provide you with the social media strategies and have someone sit there and per- literally sit there and do your social media for you. Uh, we can suggest other avenues on how to obtain people who can fulfill what you need as far as social media is concerned. And most importantly, we also figure out, say for example, you have an administrative assistant that has dead time. That can be another requirement of her, because we're not saying that you have to get so intense with social media that it consumes all what she's doing. We're just saying at least once a day, let the world know that you're there. Because one thing you don't want to do is get engaged with an audience and then stop. Because
Exactly.
for me, when because I do social media and I do follow different design blogs and so forth, and a lot of times we get engaged in different chats and we get somebody who's giving great information that uh, we start to look forward to see. So, but if I go to them one day or a whole week and they're no longer there, I'm now searching for somebody else to give me the information that I need. So that's my whole point about the whole consistency
Exactly.
thing.
Now, being consistent also means that you'll be able to actually analyze the results. And
Most
so
important.
that's just as important. So it's not only necessary, you don't just create a strategy and start implementing it and then don't track and monitor how it's helping you. Because at the end of the day, the whole goal for online advertising is to get conversions, to get those people who are seeing your advertisement, engaging you on Twitter and social media, other platforms, and getting them to actually buy what you're selling. So you have to be able to monitor the results of different campaigns that you're doing through online
Yes.
advertising to see if I need to scrap this. Is this something I should continue doing? Is this a success? Is this a failure? So you definitely want to use different, and there's so many analytical tools out there
Yes.
that you can use. Now, do you offer that service as far as the
Yes.
monitoring?
And you have Google Analytics, you have so many other avenues of analytics, and that's one thing I do love about online advertising is that you can get real time and actual statistics as to see if your advertising is working. Unlike TV, when you're just throwing out a big net and radio, and you're hoping that on an average, you're getting those consumers to listen or to see your ad. But online, you're getting that number because the internet can literally track how many people, how many unique visitors react to your ad. So that's one of the great benefits of online advertising.
Definitely. In other words, as a CPA would say, you're able to really track your ROI or return on investment in the medium fairly quickly. than other traditional means and methods that you use
Exactly.
to advertise. So that's one of the other great benefits to advertising. We need the cord. It just went out. So uh, what I want to, no, the one in my office. The one question that I want to ask you is, for a small business owner, we know that the next question is typically, what's the budget
Okay.
for something like this? So how much money can I expect to um, expand, and just rub your finger on it? What kind of money can I expect to make from what kind of budget, number one, what kind of money would I have to invest in this, and then two, um, how can I is it realistic for me to say, well, in 2 months or 3 months I should expect double, the
Yeah.
revenue? What kind of conversation do you have with your clients?
So here's the main thing. This is the first thing I tell them. The results is off the branding. I always tell people with advertising, no matter what advertising you do, when you put something out, don't expect people. Do not expect this. And now it happens, but don't expect it. When you put that ad out, to think people are just gonna call, hey, I need that. It doesn't work that way.
We wish.
Yeah, we wish. What it is, and that's why you see so many commercials run repeatedly. We want people to say, like in my business, I want to say, hey, I develop websites. I do online advertising. Once I put that out there so many times, once that client is ready for my service, I want to be the first business that pop in their head.
Yes.
Because I was so redundant in doing it that whenever they're ready, then I know they're gonna call me. I'm that business that they're thinking about. For example, you got the guy with the bankruptcy.
Yes.
All you guys know who I'm talking about. He comes on so much. Peter Francis Geraci. If I'm in a situation and I'm about to file bankruptcy, I'm not. But the first name that pops in my head is him, because he advertises so much. And now when I'm going through different websites, I'm seeing him now on the right side on banner ads now with the same stuff, but it's effective and it works. And so as far as the budget is concerned, this is the number one question that I'm asked, that is no one right answer. The best answer is, you as the consumer, I say call around, check rates. But you have to know what you want. At least a general idea of what you want. Do not expect me, the graphic designer, to know your business, to know your demographic. I'm a creator. I'm in creative. Based on what you tell me, I create what you want. I give you what you want. But if you leave it up to me to tell you what you need, how you need it, and how to do it, I'm trying to sell you the bells and the whistles. So I'm gonna give you a high price, because
I'm gonna give you.
I don't really know what you want, and then I try to weed it down from there. But when you come into an office, technically, you do have a budget, and what I mean by that is, you know how much money you're not gonna spend.
Good point.
So in that aspect, because so many people say this, I'll be like, so what's your budget? They say, well, I don't have one. You do have a budget, because if I told you it's going to be $5,000, you say, oh, I don't have $5,000. Well, you have a budget. So I always tell people to at least know an average. If you're coming in for a banner ad, you should know around what range a banner ad should cost. But if you don't, just get the information from the designer and get price ranges from them. And we can give you a range. And the range might be steep, but at least you know the max you will probably be spending. And if you talk to probably 3 different ones, if those 3 designers come within that same range, then you know I need to be somewhere around there. So most of the time as a designer, we're going to give you the low end cost, and we're going to give you the high end cost. Now, if you're that client that know you can be in between, then you probably, for example, some web designers will charge you between $1,000 to $5,000 for a startup website. Most of the time, if you're using a web designer, and I'm giving you guys some free tips here. If you're using a web designer, most web designers are going to start at $1,000. Any good one.
And that's going to generally include what kind of website?
Exactly. And me personally, If I'm gonna work with a web designer and he's stuck at 1,000, that's like a low end budget. So to be safe, if all your designers, they usually come in around 2,500 to probably 5 grand. What that is they need to itemize all what you're getting for that price. Because remember, you're paying for the customer service, you're paying for the time, you want to be able to make modifications. If you're doing social media stuff, you want to have time. You have to include all that. And I always tell people, don't always just look at the cost. Always tell the designer what you are looking for, because a lot of times it's a disconnect.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your budget, you'd be surprised how many people will sacrifice a budget just so they can have the communication with the designer that they want to get the product that they need to sell with the client.
So, and I hate to sound redundant, but it does go back to strategy. Because when you create that strategy, that's the place where you are identifying what you believe you're going to need in your website, and then you should be able to put some cost
Exactly.
measures to that at that point. So you can get to a point where you are coming into a designer like TS with a price in mind as far as what you're going to budget for this project. Now, mind you, the budget that we're talking about for online advertising does not just include the website design, but it includes the maintenance of the design, the cost for keeping it refreshed and with good content. If that's going to be the hiring of someone, you want to factor in that cost, and you want to be able to also include the cost of if you're boosting your post through the social medias and all of those additional costs that can come into play in order to not only create the initial website, but to actually advertise and market that website on the different banner ads, the click-throughs, and things like that. So you want to take into consideration all of those costs. And that's actually a conversation that if you have any trouble creating a budget for your company, whether it be just for online advertising or any other budget for managing your funds for the company, you can definitely sit with your CPA or your business consultant or AEMC, of course. We offer that service, and we can definitely work together with the TS. And that's one of the things that I love about the fact that we've partnered on so many different levels in servicing our small business clients, because after you sit with me and get an idea of budget wise, then you can go to TS after you've sat with us, and we can give you some insight on and access to different research that will help you create a strategy and make sure that you're doing something that's going to make sense for your business. Then after you do that and you pull that together, then you can sit and you're prepared to work with TS in order to make sure that you're not wasting money, because I've seen that, and I'm sure you probably have seen it often, where clients have come to you kind of backwards in the process, and then after they get clarity and do a strategy after the fact, they come back to you having to pay for changes.
And the thing with that is you pay more money. So I had some people come to me, the website started off because they, like I said, they came in just looking at price. They're like, hey, I got 2 grand. But come to find out, once they did a strategy for it, that they needed $3,000 more work to get what they needed done.
Such a waste.
The thing is, once usually a designer gives you a price, his focus is on what you primarily gave him at that moment. When if you would have had the strategy done, he could have bulked all that extra stuff together, and your price probably would have been between $3,500 and $4 grand. But because you came with a whole bunch of new stuff when he was almost finished developing, and he gave you a $2,000 price, you'll probably end up paying $1,000 more just for going backwards. And that small business, that's a hit. $1,000 more that you in the beginning didn't have in your budget. So now you probably got to pull this extra money from some other form of advertising you was doing, or probably some other business strategy stuff that you were doing, just to get the website done the way you have to have it in order to appeal to your consumers.
Exactly. Now, I've seen you, just because we've worked together for many years, I've seen you actually have that consult, that meeting where, in that first meeting, it's not you're not so quick to just take someone's
Yes.
money and get to building some elaborate website that you think that they may or may not benefit from. But I've seen you actually tell them, hey, it's some things you have to do
Yes.
before we even get to this point. So let me refer you here and there. And to me, that means that would make me feel like I'm working with a trusted
Exactly.
professional. So if you're a small business owner, you're probably wondering, okay, how do I go about, what are some of the things I should ask my graphic designer to make sure that I'm getting one that is going to be that trustworthy advisor for me as far as the design and what you're creating for my company?
First things first, you want a web designer who's not quick to make a quick sale. And what that means is he's really not listening to anything about your company. He's just looking to see how, I know you need a site. This is how much it's going to be. And that's it. Secondly, you want a designer, packages are good, but for new businesses, like say for example, you go to a web designer, he says, hey, I have this package for $1,000, I have this package for $1,500, I have this package for $2,500. A lot of times, if you get a designer who's stuck in those packages, that's a warning sign, because there's really no customization for you, the client. And so, for example, you're putting me in a box. If I'm a new owner and I probably want extra stuff, a lot of times, if you don't fall within their packages, that designer would not be a benefit for you, because a lot of times he only probably knows how to design based on those specs he put in those packages. You want a designer who can build based on the specifications for your company. So a lot of times, if you deal with Crystal and her company, they're going to give her a strategic plan. So you would then come to me, and I would then have to follow that plan. Sophisticated designer will know how to follow that plan, because he's done this many times before. And many people with small business, I know you guys are working with small business loans, you're working with your life savings, it's a lot of money being spent out. So that always is a high risk. How can I trust this guy? Second of all, do not be afraid to ask for references. I don't care if you think, well, I'm only paying them $1,000. Well, I'm only paying them $1,500. For small businesses, what happens when that's the case is you have that $1,000 or $1,500. But what happens when it goes wrong? What happens when that web designer does not deliver? You still got to get your website done, because when you go to the next designer, he does not care if you had a bad situation with your last designer. He's not going to knock $1,000 off or $1,500 so you can maintain your budget.
Right.
So it's key that you ask for references. Fill him out. If you can do a voice conversation, say you're in another state and you're talking to him, make sure you're just not texting and doing emails. Try to get a live voice and get a feel for who you're about to work with. Have him explain his different jobs to you. If you see a website you like, say, okay, what was the problem that your last client gave you, and what was your solution before you actually designed this? And listen to their answers. See if they thought about it, you know what I'm saying? And see if they thoroughly planned out what they designed for previous clients, because you're going to want that same amount of attention. I get so many clients that call and say, and this is one thing that you want to stay away from. Never tell a designer, I want something small.
Because small is always big, right?
Yeah, this is not nothing big and fancy. Because a lot of times you're just saying that because you don't want him to automatically go into a high budget mode. Yeah. Be honest with your designer, and he will be honest with you and give you the answer that you need. Go in and say, this is what I want. You don't have to say, this is a small job, I don't need nothing big, and then go into something. And he looking like, man, that's about 8 or 9 pages, and you told me it was small.
Right, it's a small giant.
And, he probably said something, then by the end of the conversation, he's like, well, that price I probably was giving you, that I thought you was at 3-4 pages, but based on this conversation, you're going to need X, Y, Z, and that, it's not going to meet that quote. So go in, be in control of the meeting.
And I've seen where, the process can go a lot smoother if you are already coming in with an idea of how you want it laid out. So if you already have the content idea, you kind of know and can figure out how many pages you need. So that's really getting back to why it's definitely so important to have content already established.
And another key thing as a small business, remember, you are business people. Don't never be afraid to negotiate. And I'm not saying going there being cheap, but always negotiate. What I mean by that is, if you go in and knowing what you want, and say, for example, I say that site is gonna cost you 10 grand. If you know you can't pay 10 grand, it's okay to bring up and say, you know what? I only got 8 grand to spend, but I want what I want. Wait to see what I say, because you never know. I'll say, you know what? Now we negotiate.
Yes. And it may just be that, and to get down to that $8,000, it may be just some minor things that
we can tweak your plan. You say, hey, can you go without this, or can we do this, or can you guarantee that you're gonna continue doing maintenance with me? Exactly. You never know what negotiation he might have, because as a designer, we want long-lasting. A true designer wants a long-lasting relationship. And if you get a designer that's trying to make a quick sale, he's not looking for no longevity with you. Exactly. I should be a part of your business, because your online advertising is key for your business.
Exactly.
It's the future now. Yeah. Printing is down significantly. So whoever you're working with, whether it's your online designer, your social media analyst, or consultant, these people are now becoming a part of your business. They a lot of times become your monthly expense.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's very key that you actually, and then two, it's actually good to get somebody you actually like. That is key.
You're giving them your money. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this person. You want them to definitely have interest in your business.
Because some people are great. I met so many great designers, but they have no customer service. A lot of times they go in design mode. They don't like to call you back. They don't like to do the communication. I know as a business owner, you're very anxious. You probably got a big campaign coming up, and you very hands-on. Make sure if you're that type of person, get a designer that can cater to what you need. Because it's not just me designing stuff for you, giving you what you want. It's also how I react with you, how I relay my messages to you, how I make you feel. Because, like Crystal says, you are paying for this stuff, and it's not cheap. Just like when you go buy a car, you want a nice salesman, because you want to feel good about your purchase. Yes. And that's a big thing. And looking for a good designer. And I had this question asked to me yesterday, because she had such a bad experience with one guy trying to sell her website. Her whole approach with me was on the defense. Mm-hmm. But once I made her feel better, I gave her references. I was open with her. I showed her. I told her I gave information, things that she didn't ask me. And so I just kind of went over and beyond to make sure that she was comfortable, because she had such a bad experience on the last presentation. And as a designer, like I said, I want relationships. And most businesses, you see your business lasting for many, many years. And you should want all your vendors to have that same attitude towards your business that you have.
Definitely. And so we've talked a lot about, the different ways that you can advertise online. We've talked about the importance of choosing a great designer that to utilize in your business, one who helps you and guides you through the process, as far as if you come without some of the critical things you need in order to really make the whole process a huge success, who can give you resources and access to those individuals that can help you with content, help you with all of the prepping of the website and your advertising strategy as a whole. We've talked about banner ads, click-throughs, and things that you can utilize, other ways of advertising online. And so and we talked about budget. We talked about how you create the budget and what some things you should take into consideration for creating the budget and kind of monetizing this this whole strategy that you're about to engage upon. Um, One of the things I want to ask you, as a small business owner, I know we all go through different challenges, and so there's going to be some challenges to going online. So, what are some of the challenges that you've seen for small business owners, and how have you either helped them get over it, or seeing how they have handled?
Well, one of the things is, a lot of times we'll refer them to Crystal if I feel that it's a disconnect from how they are physically relaying their business strategy to a consumer. And a lot of times it gets different when they relay it online. And what I mean by that is, you have a lot of clients who are still iffy about sharing information online. That's one of the biggest hurdles, especially for small business, especially if they've been so used to, you know, one-on-one communication. It is a shift to go online. And a lot of people, a lot of times, don't even realize that they're not communicating the same as people coming into their office or coming into their store. You'd be surprised they don't really realize that they're not communicating that same message online. Because a lot of people have online stores and they don't, put the same products that they have online, or even give the descriptions and stuff that they do online as if somebody came in the store and actually bought it.
Yeah.
So it's that disconnect, and sometimes you have to let them know, like, hey, it cannot be a disconnect on how you sell on a one-on-one approach. You have to sell it the same way you do online.
Exactly.
And another problem that I see a lot of times online is, like I said, the consistency and not being sure of what you're trying to sell. Because this is the biggest thing when I say, okay, who is your target market? They say, well, I want to market to everybody.
Yes.
People.
Right, and you don't
if
have the budget.
If you're a new small business and you're fresh, you cannot market to everybody.
Right. And even if you're not a new business, I mean, I've seen as a consultant for a lot of small businesses that even if you've been in business for a couple of years, we go through a strategic plan, and we are constantly asking the question, what is your competitive advantage? Who are you targeting? And it's often very difficult for clients to identify what makes them different.
Yeah.
For instance, a salon. There's a lot of beauty salons and spas in Illinois and all around. And so how do you as a business owner differentiate your salon from other salons? And so that's, in other words, what is your competitive advantage? And when you know what that advantage is through going through a strategy and working with a consultant, a professional that can help you with this, then you are able to convey that message across all lines, including your online advertising. But if you don't know who your target market is and your competitive advantage, what makes you special and unique as a business, then you will not be able to effectively utilize these avenues that we're talking about. So you still have some prep things to do before you fully engage or are in position to engage online advertising. But it's so important to know what your options are out here, what's happening in the world of the internet, where that you can benefit and take advantage of to help grow your business.
And one more thing, and also once you find out what your niche is, accept it. It was a point when the printing was high and I got into publishing. I wanted to do graphic novels. I wanted to do the more sophisticated book covers. But my niche became children's books and illustrations. Now I'm gonna be honest with you, I really didn't want to do that, but they really loved the work I was putting out for it. So I had to accept that, and then I had to build on that because I saw that's where the work was coming in from.
Exactly.
Now, I mean, for a minute, I was like, hey, I would love to do some graphic novels. I used to pitch it, but if I would have stayed on that, I would have lost all the children's money. And I was still doing my craft. It's just that wasn't the demographic at that time I wanted. But once I accepted it, I grew. I have a huge portfolio behind it, and it went very well. So many business owners, you know who your niche is. But if you're trying to take it to the next level, you have to accept that's your niche, or you're gonna be spending a lot of marketing dollars trying to change it.
Exactly. And you know what, and that's why it's important to have a strategy, because if you've been running your business a certain way where you really in your mind you were thinking you were doing offering a service that should get at, let's say, somebody more affluent, but in as we're analyzing your business, you've really been getting a whole different market than what you are saying your target is, then you have to look at that as there's some possible gold in that, or create a strategy to say how, since I'm not currently attracting these types of individuals, what do I need to do to attract these individuals, and then work with professionals like us to help you get to that point of building your brand to attract these individuals. One of the things that we didn't really talk too much about that I want to kind of go back to the beginning is there are, and I think we kind of hint on it, is that the strategies, there are different strategies to roll out on different platforms. So there are a lot of different businesses across many different industries. Do you, can you give us just a few industries and what types of online advertising really makes sense for different businesses? Because everything doesn't make sense for everyone.
One of the big things is, and they launched some great tools for people. If you are an e-commerce company, like you sell product, you want to start the e-commerce business or retail or boutique, not only can you build your own website, but there are beautiful other third-party e-commerce stores that you can share your products on. They have the eBay store, they have the Amazon store. You can also post a lot of your products through many app stores, such as the Apple Store, the Play Store through Android. That way you're getting on more of the mobile platforms. And like I say, Amazon is great. And they will redirect people back to your website, or you can put your products on their third-party website, and people can sell for buy the products directly from them also. Now, the great thing about that is you get to share those huge websites optimizations. So in the search engine, if you have your product and stuff through those medias, you can be shown using their analytics that they're using for their site. You can be piggybacking off them.
Can you give some a definition of the SEO or search?
Yes, search engine optimization is basically, in layman's terms, say for example, if I'm on Google and I type in your company name, or if I type in a product that you're selling or a product that you created, when I type that stuff in, or any keywords that's been tagged successfully within the search engine, you want to come up. And I usually tell people that the top 3 pages, because averagely most people don't go past the third. And if they do go past the third page, they usually don't go past the 5th page. So you want to be in those top 5 pages in a search based on what the individual types in.
And that kind of gets back to why you have to be consistent.
Consistency is key, because no matter how many techniques somebody tries to tell you, the algorithm for so many years has always been the same. The more people who go to your site, it moves you up through the search engine. It's just different techniques and stuff that they do to help you get to the top if you're just starting. But the key thing is, the more people go to your site, the higher you go up. The more people who type you in, the more people that type your domain name in. And that can be a whole nother conversation to tell you how to do the algorithms on that. But the key thing is, you want people to go to wherever you're selling your products and stuff at. So if you want people just to go to your social media pages, you need to market that. Now, secondly, just because you're online don't mean you have to just do online marketing.
Exactly.
You can do grassroots marketing. You can get flyers and stuff printed up. You can get billboards up to just market your website. But the key thing is, and it's the cheapest thing, get a domain name that people will remember. So
okay, and so for my company, giving them more examples of your industry, how your industry may or may not fit certain certain platforms. Mm-hmm. For us, for Anderson's Enterprise, we have found that, a website like Instagram doesn't really fit us because we're not, posting pictures like a salon.
Yeah.
It would make sense that they have images of their hairstyles and things that they have done to put that on Instagram and be able to showcase that. So, are there other examples that you could give us?
Yeah.
That
Like with my company, Instagram actually is beautiful for my company because I get to show the artwork. I get to show if I'm out creating, because people come to me to visually see what I do. Uh, so basically, you want to be able to direct people to whatever mediums that would best fit them. So if you are a service and you're selling a service, places like Twitter, Facebook is good, but places like Twitter, and I really wish people with more services, and that's why I'm so happy that we do have our Zarina, because people now are wanting to be more hands-on with your company. They want to feel that they are a part of your company because you get multi-millionaires and billionaires now coming doing one-on-ones on social media, talking to the consumer like on a more I can touch you. I know Tyler Perry is very good at that. He'll one day wake up as big as he is and just, hey, I just want to share a couple of few things with y'all out there. And it's like he right there in your face. And he'll be on there tweeting. It'll actually be him. And so a lot of the users and everything are feeling more connected with the people that they're doing business with. And if you are a service-based business, it's good that you want to be the next step above your competitor. Because, okay, what separates you from your competitors? Hey, I'm right there communicating with my consumers. If they need me, they can just tune in. I'm literally right there communicating with them. Can my competition say that? Exactly. So, and it's very important. And that's one of the things that I had to force myself to do. And it has benefited me tremendously. I used to try to I want to be this private person. I want to do this. But then I got my competition over there. He's at my clients' parties. He's celebrating with them. Hey, we just did a beautiful campaign. I see him partying with them. And the clients is loving it. So I'm like, oh, he's got an edge on me. Yes. And so you want to, as you go into this virtual world, make it work to your benefit. See what works for you. And I can't stress it enough. If you can go to your CPA or call Anderson's Enterprise to help you, that they can come up with a strategy at all times. And it's not just a one-time thing. As you grow, yes, you can come over to us or other agencies to help you keep building new strategies, new campaigns. That's why advertising campaigns are so important. So many people always say, hey, I just need a website, I need this. It'd be great if you come in and say, hey, I need a campaign. Because most of your successful companies, and I know small business, your favorite word is, I'm not on their level yet, so I can't do that.
Every company started out small.
Every company started out small. But trust me, they had a strategy and they had campaigns and they just kept growing and growing and they kept going back. Hey, I need new information. I need better information. We need to make this campaign stronger. We need to, and it works. Trust me. And I had a trusted friend tell me this, and this is what really helped my business. When it comes to budget, first thing you want to look at is how much money you want to make. That's why your financial, your CPA becomes so important because you can talk numbers. Because in any business you do, you should know how much money you want to make, even if it's astronomical. Yeah. Say, hey, I want to be making $10 million.
And that will help you.
So then when you're out with all these expenses, everything you need, then when somebody say, okay, you want to make, once y'all come on, your CPA might say, hey, this business stands to make within the next 3 years, $5 million. So when people start telling you, hey, your website is going to be $5,000, this campaign is going to be $20,000, it's not such a stress on you because you know this has a potential to make the $5 million. So then you're looking more so at the $5 million instead of the $100,000 that you'll probably have to spend to make the $5 million.
And understand that, with marketing, it's always been looked at as like a hit or miss thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's definitely important that as you invest into online advertising and other means of advertising, you have a way of analyzing the results of that so that you can know if you can change it. You have to be strategic to know that, okay, this didn't work, let's try this, and to maintain and make sure that the monies you are investing in it will actually get you to the results, and be willing to give it time. This is definitely not an overnight process. As we wind down, I just want to make sure we didn't have any questions from anyone that may have joined in from Twitter. Okay, great. So I want to make sure that as we bring this to a close, it is my greatest hope that you've received a lot of information that you can actually use and will decide to put to use in your business. Anyone who is watching this video or watches it even later, for the next 30 days, we are giving our Twitter fans the opportunity to sit down with us for a free consultation. If you are booking the appointment online, and as a result of